Hello everyone, my name is Prima, and the world of Pokemon sure has a lot of odd creatures. But the oddest ones, in my opinion, are Pokemon that literally look like inanimate objects. You got your ice creams, wind chimes, keys, and just lots more. But unfortunately, most people do not like these type of Pokemon. Me, however, I love these type of Pokemon. Like, have you ever seen a floating rock in real life? Nope, I doubt it. To me, it just makes sense that in a world as crazy as the Pokemon world, Pokemon like this would exist, floating rocks, keys. It just makes sense that they would inhabit such a world. But the one thing I've always wondered is, why? Why do they look like that? I mean, you could say, oh, well, the designers made them look like that because it fits with the lore and the theming and the region, blah, 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 blah. Sure, but I'm not talking about a designer's point of view, though. I'm talking about more so a biological point of view, or at least something magical if biological isn't enough to explain it. I mean, we're talking about Pokemon who look like lamps, keys, ice cream. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more magical than the real world. But to reiterate, why do these Pokemon look like that? And that's what I'm gonna analyze today, to see exactly why these Pokemon look the way they do. So, let's dive in. Firstly, we have to define what inanimate object really means when talking about a Pokemon's design. Like, do you include Pokemon like Muck and Swalot, who are based off sludge? Do you include Pokemon like Claydol and Porygon, who are made by humans? Things like sludge and the mud of Claydol aren't really what you would consider objects. Consider something like Chimecho, which is a wind chime and it can be seen and touched as one individual object. So I'm really going to be only focusing on Pokemon that really just fit the definition of inanimate object. So no Pokemon based on yokai, no Pokemon based on concepts like letters like with the Unknown, no Pokemon that are made by humans like Porygon, and no Pokemon that have multiple inspirations thrown in them. Like if you look at Avalugg, yeah, it's a table, but it's also an Ichthyosaur or some other type of dinosaur, so it just doesn't count. We're just going with the bare bones definition of inanimate object, and that's gonna be it. So let's start with Geodude and Graveler, dudes who are literally just made out of rock. I'm not going to count Golem, however, because it's more reptilian, so it doesn't count. So why do these Pokemon look like rocks? Well, simple, for camouflage. It's only noticeable by humans if you so happen to trip over it or step on it by accident, and then it gets angry. It seems likely it's the same with Graveler. It even rolls around disguising itself as a boulder, so yeah, it's all camouflage. Possibly not even rocks themselves. Graveler is stated to eat rocks, its favorite food. But it also looks like a rock? Coincidence? Alolan Graveler eats Dravite, and then crystals form inside of its body because it eats Dravite. Golem is also very reptilian and just looks like a reptile inside of a rock. So I think that they're just camouflaging themselves as rocks and aren't actually rocks. Golem, on the other hand, yeah, one can notice it much easier than the other two. So why is that? While growing up, creatures tend to be much more vulnerable, especially a baby like Geodude. So having them hide in the cave they call home, especially with such high competition, is a perfect strategy for these Pokemon to develop. Then when it's fully grown, it doesn't need to look like a rock anymore, hence why Golem looks so different from the other two. The Magnezone line is similar. These Pokemon don't appear to just be magnets that just randomly came to life. Instead, these Pokemon just happen to look like modern-day magnets, probably because they're often found in power plants, and power plants used to be occupied by people, so there'd probably be a lot of magnets laying around, and these Pokemon just thought, what if I just look like this magnet so that people and other Pokemon will just leave me the heck alone? It all just perfectly aligns with the fact that they can also just fly by using electromagnetism. If modern day magnets weren't a thing, I doubt that these Pokemon would look like them. Maybe they'd look like some old cursed rocks or something, and be rock type instead. Just anything that humans would have used back then. Magnezone also looks like a UFO with a weird magnet, so it's more noticeable. But again, just like Geodude and Graveler, baby and juvenile stages are still camouflaged, likely due to safety. It also isn't too weird that they consume electricity. I mean, they look like it, so their evolution definitely could have played a role in combination with their diet too. The Electrode line is the same as the Magnezone line. They're camouflaged to look like things that humans have, in this case Pokeballs. First appearing to humans when they were spotted at a Pokeball manufacturing company. Ever since Pokeballs were invented, these Pokemon have looked like them. So in the past, they would have resembled just anything else. But their main goal was to always blend in with the environment. likely also for defensive purposes to just be left alone. They also consume electricity, so again, their diet played a part in their evolution. Much later in the chronological order, we have the Probopass line. These Pokemon appear to be camouflaging themselves as Maui statues. Yeah, a lot of these are just straight up camo. Its diet definitely plays a huge role in its evolution. Did you know that these Pokemon, they don't eat rocks or electricity? No, they hunt prey. They don't move around a lot, but when they do, oh boy, they use their magnetism to basically attract prey near them. And prey in this case means steel-type Pokemon because, you know, they attract that and like, boom, it's on its nose and it's getting eaten. So unlike the ones we've mentioned so far, these ones use aggressive mimicry rather than defensive. They don't look like that to be left alone, but to make sure that their prey doesn't notice them when hidden between rocks. Honestly, I didn't expect Probopass of all things to be low-key terrifying, but hey, you learn something new every day. Lunatone and Solrock are said to have come from space, and they both feed on energies from the moon and sun respectively. Their appearance is likely because if they evolved in space, well, it's certainly advantageous to have looked like general meteorites, instead of anything living. We know that some Pokemon come from space, so I'm sure that there would be Pokemon that hunt others in the vastness of the galaxy. Hence these Pokemon looking like the way they do. It's just lucky for them that they also happen to look like Earth rocks, and therefore can just easily hide as they're getting their energies from the sky. The Chimecho line is interesting. Chingling is a bell, and it evolves into a wind chime. Okay, you would think that these Pokemon look like human objects, so that they would, you know, integrate better into human society, so they could just live there and eat whatever they want without being bothered by humans. But no, these Pokemon are actually more common in natural areas rather than urban areas. So what gives? Why do they look like that? Well, weird example, but you know how like wild animals can get confused by things that they don't really recognize? Like, do you think a lion sees a blender or something, or a microwave every day? No, and when it sees one, it's gonna think, what the heck's going on? That's not food. I'm not gonna eat that. I mean, all these Pokemon do is just eat berries all day, so if they look like something that most Pokemon will probably just avoid, then yeah, it's doing fine. That's all I got, though. This line is this very weird Pokemon. The Bronzong line kind of has the same deal going on. Like, it looks like a bell. If a Pokemon sees a bell in a forest, is going to think, huh, that's weird. But again, it's definitely not food. So that's just how they survive. They just look like weird, out-of-place objects, just so that others will leave them alone. Then we have the Gigalith line. These Pokemon look like this pretty much for the same reason that Geodude and Graveler do. They want to stay camouflaged and not be noticed. Except with these Pokemon, it's their entire life rather than just until they're a grown adult. These Pokemon are also known for charging up energy and releasing it as a beam, and they have a lot of energy stored inside of their bodies. Considering they can be hard to see to the eye, that means they sure have enough time to charge up beams, which could possibly be a hunting strategy, or just for defense. After all, those crystals are easier to notice than something that looks like a pure rock like Geodude. Since they have all that energy inside of them, we can assume they do whatever they can to keep that energy conserved, searching for water underground and just generally keeping quiet. And if that's obtainable by appearing lifeless like a rock, well, if that'll keep you alive, that's really all that matters. Also, likely not real rocks either, because if you put Rock'n'Rolla under the tap for a while, it becomes softer, and rocks don't really do that, do they? Generation 5 is pretty much known at this point for its huge amount of inanimate object Pokemon, including their Garbodor line, which a lot of people don't like, but honestly I love them. They got cute faces. Look at them. They're cute. But why do these Pokemon look like literal trash? Well, if you're a Pokemon that is pretty comfortable in an urban area, and you don't want to be noticed by humans, what do? Well, you look like a bag of heaping trash, pieces of crap, just disgusting. Everyone stays away from you at that point. They also eat the same stuff, too. They're decomposers who just want to be left alone, and have you keep assuming that you did just see a heap of trash try to kill and eat a Rattata. Oh yeah, these Pokemon kill, by the way. Not only are their poisonous attacks good for defending, so even if something is crazy enough to attack a bag of crap, it'll still be alright. But Garbodor is known to finish something and be able to kill a weakened creature instantly. Why is it written in there? Because as soon as Garbodor runs out of trash to eat, it'll come after any living thing it can find next. And since Rattata are often around trash, yeah, one could easily make that connection. Don't worry though, the cute little Trubbish appears to just eat garbage while it's small. Still pick that one up and cuddle it. Of course, provided you have a gas mask so you won't pass out. Next up, we have a Pokemon line that not a lot of people are cool with. despite the fact that these Pokemon are very, very, very cool. I'm of course talking about the ice cream Pokemon, the Vanilluxe line, which a lot of people hate for no reason, and I think that they're some of the best designs of Gen 5. But why do these Pokemon look like ice cream? What benefit does it give them? Stated in the Dex that Vanillite was created when an icicle came to life, and that's pretty much it. Although that's not too confirmed either, theoretically, supposedly, just tell us, Game Freak. I mean, alright, bit weird, but lots of Pokemon are formed through what I'm assuming is infinity energy just taking a hold of something and making it sentient. These Pokemon were alive and kicking during the Ice Age, so I think that definitely had something to do with the way they look. Looking like snow during that time was definitely favorable. No one would hardly notice you, and you'd also be perfectly adapted to the cold. These Pokemon nowadays look like literal ice cream, probably because humans just really fancy them. They look friendly and they look nice. Warm temperatures aren't something these Pokemon are a fan of, but they're actually very welcomed in hotter places like Alola. So those people likely have made it easier for them to live in warmer places too, by accommodating for them. So really they look like this to gain the affection and love of humans, which is, you know, I mean fair, cats do this and it works really well. Lastly is the Klinklang line. These Pokemon look the way they do similarly to the Chimecho line and the Bronzong line. A Pokemon out in the forest might just think, oh, what's a pair of gears laying here? And they'll just leave it alone. It definitely seems like a more defensive camouflage rather than an offensive camouflage, since they can actually produce their own energy by just spinning around. So it's helpful that they're just left alone. But they can deal out some serious damage if they are bothered. And yeah, that was the video. Originally, I was actually going to talk about 22 lines in total, but I figured that'd be way too much for just one video, so here are the first 11, and then next week we'll have the other 11 as well up. But what do you think is going up with these Pokemon? Why do they look like that? Is it just the designer's choice, or do they actually have, you know, valid reasons to look like inanimate objects? And of course, what do you think of these Pokemon? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. I got lots of cool stuff on the channel, and always more coming soon. Before I go, I want to give out a massive thank you to my assistant professor and lecturer patrons. Ty Burns, Michael Piccirilli, DeltaMajora, and Gwen Joy. Y'all are the best, and thank you for the support. And with that being said, I hope y'all have a good day, night, or morning, and as always, take care.